All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first ever Proper Romance Zoom event. We're so excited to have you all. My name is Callie, and I will be hosting the event today. So I work in the marketing department for Shadow Mountain Publishing with Troy Butcher, our marketing director, who's also here doing some behind-the-scenes stuff for us. Um, and so just so everyone knows, we request that you all stay muted throughout the event. There may be a chance at the end for questions, so feel free to use the chat function to write your questions or comments. So that being said, today we are joined by 8 of our Proper Romance authors. And I'm just going to go through and introduce all of them pretty briefly. So first we have Nancy Campbell Allen. She is our author of our steampunk proper romance novels and some Regency. So stick around at the end because we're going to be giving away a copy of her newest ARC, Glass Urges and Glass Hearts. So we'll give that away soon. Next up, we have Julianne Donaldson. And many of you know she's the author of Edenbrook and Blackmore. And those are amazing books. We also have Sarah Eden, and Sarah is the author of soon-to-be 7 proper romance novels. The Gentleman and the Thief is coming out this fall, and you'll have a chance to win an ARC here today. So, and then next we have Leah Garriott, and she's the author of the newly released Regency romance Promised, which many of you have read, I'm sure. And then we have Josie Kilpack, and she is the author of 9 proper romance novels, including the newest addition to the Mayfield family series, Rakes and Roses, which is coming out on Tuesday. So we're excited for her for that. We also have Megan Walker, and she's the author of also newly released, only about a month, Lakeshire Park, which is a wonderful book. And then we have Becca Wilhite, and she is the author of one of our contemporary romances, Check Me Out, which is amazing. And then last but not least, we have Julie Wright, who is the author of some of our contemporaries as well, and the most recent Glass Slippers, Ever After, and Me. So a few of our authors unfortunately couldn't make it today, but they did send us a special message to share with each of you. So we're gonna get the video loaded up here and then we'll show you.
Hey everyone, I'm Arlem Hawks, and I'm excited to be joining the Proper Romance team. My debut novel, Jordana's Secret, comes out in January. And I just wanted to share with you a little sneak peek of the cover. I'm super excited about this cover. It really gives a great feel for the characters and for just the overall feel of the book. Jordana's Secret follows Jordana Woodall, who is taken to sea by her father, disguised as his cabin boy, and she accidentally falls in love with the dashing First Lieutenant Dominic Payton. And they have to navigate through war and secrets and mutiny to protect their blossoming romance. And I am really excited to be able to share that with you. I look forward to getting to know all of you proper romance readers.
Sweet, so that was Arlem. And then we have another one.
My name is Krista Jensen, and I just wanted to introduce to you my new book that is coming out this fall called Miracle Creek Christmas. I am so excited to be part of the Proper Romance series and to be able to share this story with you about a fictitious little town in the Wenatchee Valley, Washington, just east of the Cascade Mountain Range. And this is Riley Madigan, and this is Mark Rivers. And as you can see, they're the main character of my book. Mark is an ex-firefighter who is facing down some of his demons. And Riley is the new art teacher in town, in this tiny little town. And she's also got some stuff. And there's a lot of fun, a lot of romance. I really enjoyed writing this book. I really enjoyed the humor that comes through, and I hope you enjoy it too. And it brings you all the feels this Christmas time. And that's it. I'm going to miss our event on Saturday, but I will be moving. But I hope you enjoy everything and everyone. And thank you, Shadow Mountain, and Bye.
Yep, so that was Krista. And then we have one more author who couldn't join us, and that is Alima, and she also sent a special message over to us.
Hi, my name is Alima Todd. I'm the author of A Song for the Stars, one of the books in the Proper Romance line. This romance takes place in 1779 in Hawaii and is actually inspired by the story of my fourth great-grandparent. She was the daughter of a Hawaiian chief, and he was one of the sailors on one of Captain Cook's British ship. The story actually starts out with that first contact that Europeans made in Hawaii. There are a lot of battles and confrontations. The story really is about forgiveness and trying to bridge the gap between two cultures. Don't worry, there's also a lot of kissing. It is a romance. So now's probably a good time since you can't really get out and go on vacation. I suggest picking up this book. It'll be like going to Hawaii for a trip. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks.
Sweet. So if any of you perchance struggled to hear any of those videos, we are going to post them on our page right after. Watch them again and again if you really want to. Now, why don't we just jump into questions for our authors? Okay, so we'll do rapid fire. So all the authors, you can unmute yourselves, and then we'll just go through, and we'll just start with Megan. Your book. Okay. So what is your writing kryptonite?
Writing kryptonite, so that's like writing weakness.
Yes.
Sleep, because I have 3 young kids and I always want to sleep. So I try to write at night usually. Sorry, this is rapid fire. Sleep.
TV.
I'll take it. My writing kryptonite is Netflix.
Mine is research. I would much rather research than write.
Mine is honestly depression. I'm just going to keep that real. When I'm sad, I have a really hard time being creative.
Mine is motherhood.
Teaching school on mine.
I was just going to say mine is everything because writing is really hard.
Writing is pretty hard. What is your favorite childhood book? We can start with Josie.
Ooh, I didn't read books when I was a kid. I read one book over and over again. It was called A Dangerous Year by Ezra Zeisel. It's about a family of skunks that all mostly get killed off over the course of a dangerous. I probably read it 50 times.
When I was a kid, I read the biography of Jesse James, the runner from the 1938 Olympics or whatever, like 65 times.
See, a good book. It's worth reading over and over again.
I read Nancy Drew.
Of course you did, Nancy.
Yes.
I have mine right here. It's Jackaroo by Cynthia Voigt.
Oh, nice.
I actually like 2 of hers. It's not necessarily a favorite, but I've kept it all these years, so it must have meant something.
I've never heard of that before, Leah. I would say Little House on the Prairie. The Little House on the Prairie.
Mine was A Wrinkle in Time.
Oh, nice.
That's my favorite.
Mine was The Dancing Man by Ruth Bornstein, I think. Bornstein? I don't know. I've never known how to say her name, but but The Dancing Man, it was a good book. I read that over and over, and I've spilled hot chocolate on it, and I've colored in it because I was little. And
My favorite was Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell.
Good one.
What is the one thing you need to have in order to write?
Willpower. I don't have any. I'm all out.
Quiet.
No
My
kid.
computer. My computer.
Time.
Isolation.
And chocolate.
chocolate. There you go. That's the answer.
All of the above.
I need that too.
An early bird or a night owl?
Early bird.
Night owl.
Night owl. Night owl.
Early bird.
Not me.
Who else is early?
I'm early.
Josie's early.
Lucy is early. I've been on writing things with her, and she gets up at like 5 in the morning and goes running.
That's because I'm worthless by 8 o'clock at night. So.
What is your favorite place that you visited?
What was that?
Edinburgh, Scotland for me.
The favorite place that you visited?
Scotland.
Norway.
I went to the Cambodian temples, the temples in Cambodia, and that was amazing.
Cool. You guys travel cool places. I was going to say Kentucky. I went to this really cool lake house in Kentucky when I was a kid for like girls camp, and it was really cool. I think I need a passport.
Love it. I went to Tuscany, Italy, and stayed in a villa for a week, and it was gorgeous. I want to go back.
Italy is definitely like the coolest place ever, right?
Oh yeah, and the food. Oh my gosh, the food.
And the people and the language. They look like they're yelling at you, and they're really just happy.
My favorite place would be Ireland. I know you're all shocked, but that's my favorite place I've visited.
I love it. Hopefully one day we can visit all those places again, right? Are you a dog or a cat person?
Dog. Dog.
Neither.
Dog.
Chickens.
Chicken?
I am a chicken person if I had my way. I have a dog and 3 cats. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, at the moment we're a dog, guinea pig, fish, mouse house. So we
I
have a
actually
variety.
don't like animals, but I really like my kid, and my kid likes a dog, so I have a dog right now. He's really cute. The kid and the dog, they're both really cute.
Next question. What's everyone's favorite ice cream flavor? And this is from Tammy.
Josie's Starlight Mint.
What'd you say?
Starlight Mint. The green one.
That's a little specific.
Oh, yeah.
That is. I was gonna say that I love all ice creams, but I will say chocolate or cookie dough. Chocolate chip cookie dough is my favorite. I eat it like every night.
I like the chocolate with the brownie chunks in it or the peanut butter chunks in it.
Mine's peanut butter and chocolate.
Rocky Road, but it has to be from Breyers, because if it's not, because they've got the mini marshmallow.
I'm not really a chocolate person. I like fruity ice cream, but lately it's been the, those little Talenti gelatos, coconut gelato from Talenti.
Sounds yummy.
My favorite is butter pecan.
Aw.
You and every 90-year-old man on the planet.
No, those are my people. Why do you think I dress like this? Hey, buddy, want to go have some butter pecan?
Hey, yes.
That is romantic. It's romantic.
Oh, my chocolate and peanut butter. Like the Baskin Robbins kinds with the huge chunks of frozen peanut butter in it.
Haagen-Dazs is also really good for that.
Okay,
Really.
that's good to know.
Yeah, get that.
Important information.
Robbins closes during quarantine.
What's your favorite superhero, if you have one?
Well, Wonder Woman, of course.
Yeah. And my husband.
Oh,
Right?
Cute.
Going that way, it's my grandma.
you guys are
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Right.
look at it. Say that out loud.
Okay, so I gotta say, Iron Man, I like the sass.
Yes.
And I like the whole giant story arc from the whole decade of the Iron Man story because
The story arc is fantastic.
Yes, I agree.
I love superheroes. I will say mine is Captain America. I'm just throwing that out there.
Very good.
My favorite would have to be Bruce Banner / The Incredible Hulk, because I feel like that is my life encapsulated in a single superhero. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Smash. This is what I
Green like a leprechaun.
Grrr.
What is everyone's favorite thing to eat while writing?
I'll eat everything if it's available and I don't have to cook it.
Amen.
Yes. Leah answered. The right answer.
My favorite is peanut butter
Multi-carbs.
M&Ms and almonds that you eat it, but you eat it with a spoon. And so you have one M&M and you have 3 almonds and you eat it with a spoon so you don't get anything in your fingers. That's my favorite.
That's why you put it in a cup so you can just drink it.
You don't get the right ratio of M&Ms and almonds. You don't get too many M&Ms, you don't get too many almonds.
the spoon is a good idea. I actually have to put my treats on my, like the very top of my keyboard right next to the laptop screen, and I can have a treat every 100 words because I am a child and I need bribery to do work.
Okay, so you do have willpower.
I'm going to try it.
I mean, I can see the treat. Like, it's right there.
I don't know if I have the self-will to make that happen.
So last of the rapid fire questions. What is your most favorite thing about being a proper romance author?
Look at this good company we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, being
The fellow
friends
writers.
with the other authors.
Nice. Yeah,
Or people.
and the readers. We have that most amazingly friendly and loyal readership.
And they're so fun, and they're creative. They come up with some of the most creative things. I just watched some of their blog posts, and it's like, wow, you guys are amazing.
Yep.
You can't take a picture like those people to save my life.
Well, we love all of you as our proper romance authors. So I'm going to go into some questions for everyone if you want to answer. So since we can't be together because, coronavirus and stuff, what are you doing during this trying time to keep your spirits up? And this is from Jana A.
I'm watching lots of Korean dramas. Sorry, Leah.
Julie. It's spring. Lucky that it came in spring and not winter. So I'm gardening. I'm getting my garden all set for the year.
I'm teaching sophomore English.
I am reading, and I honestly, that is really, because again, back to, sometimes sad is really hard for me, and I've been dealing with a lot of sad. So reading has been super important, and I just finished Rakes and Roses, and I know it's coming out for everybody. It's going to be available soon. Guys, it was so good. So it really helped me. Thanks, Josie. I love you.
Oh gosh,
Leia's new book. Leia, I just finished that one too. Holy cow. Sorry, I'm gonna shut up now. Sorry. You're all awesome.
I am watching a lot of TV, way too much TV, but there's some good TV out there right now. And taking walks in the sunshine when it's nice days, which is lovely. And I've been taking my real estate course, and that's kept me really busy, which was excellent timing since I'm homebound anyway. So I'm good.
I've been reading and watching Community.
I've been watching Parks and Rec, and my kids are outside right now doing slip and slide and water balloons. So I have that to look forward to this afternoon.
Some of you already answered this, but what book have you read that has been the very best escape during the whole coronavirus scenario?
So I just finished Words of Radiance, which is the second book in Brandon Sanderson's Wheel of Time, whatever, Stormlight thing. Oh my gosh. I don't read fantasy and I don't read science fiction unless it's by Brandon Sanderson, and then I absolutely love it. He's amazing. So, and they're like, I listen to them on Audible, and they're like 54 hours, so it takes a lot of time.
Okay, I mentioned that I would rather research than write at times. Okay, often. Also, my favorite reading I've done during quarantine is this book, It's a research book. It's called Treasures Afoot, and it's all about actual shoes from the 1700s and the stories behind them. It's fascinating. It's just the coolest book. So that's what I've been reading. It's a total nerd answer, but I have loved it.
Okay, the 4-year-old is back. I'm rereading Harry Potter and I am loving it. But this time I went from the back to the front. So I started with the 7th book and I read it. And then I read the 6th book and now I'm reading the 5th book. And I don't know, it's a little bit of a different, like I'm looking for patterns in how she tells stories because I don't know, I can't put them down.
Okay. Sorry, I'm figuring out the muting thing. Okay, Proper Scandal by Esther Hatch. I guess I have to put it right in front of me. There we go.
There you go. That looks cool. All right, next question comes from Barbara S. If any of you have been writing, I'm not saying all of you have, but how do you find time to write in these recent weeks with so many distractions?
I can take that one because I have not been writing very well in recent weeks. And the funny thing is, I write from home. This should be no big deal, but everyone else is home too. And so I kind of want to be where they are, or it's easy to be interrupted if there's other people around. And one of the things I have to have is absolute quiet. And like you said, Julie, solitude. I like to be, unless I'm with other writers at a retreat and we've all got earphones in. So it's been surprisingly difficult for me.
I just turned in a new book to the publisher, to Shadow Mountain. And I had to wake up early and I had to stay up late, and my husband had to take a couple of days off of work so that I could, because as a writer, like I can't do it in half-hour spurts. I need like a couple of hours, right? And so I would wake up a couple of hours before everybody, and then the moment the kids were in bed, I was down writing while he was like manning the questions in the bathrooms and the drinks and the I can't sleeps. And then his company's really good, so he got a couple of days off work because of the coronavirus, and so I made him use those so I could work.
I'm the same, Leah. I'm totally the same. I stay up late, probably way too late, writing some nights, and I write on my phone during the day. So if my kids are outside playing, and we've been playing for a while and they're not ready to come in the house, I just sit and write on my phone while they're playing, or write during nap time.
That's so impressive, Megan. I will tell you that I have been practicing giving myself some grace about writing right now. I am not in like the greatest emotional place, and I'm worried about things, and I'm frantically trying to be a school teacher without a school, right? And I live in Heber. I wake up to snow, like way too often in the last month. And so I am practicing just being okay with not being very good at it right now. But just like any other time, and just like everyone who wants to do a thing, you don't find time, you make it, right? And you say, okay, so I'd rather be sleeping, eating, taking care of my children, whatever, but I'm gonna have to choose to spend this time. And some of us are in places where that's easier, and some of us are in places where that's harder, right? My kids are taller than me. They don't really need my help, but they do wanna be teenagers, and I have to do teenagery mom things, right? So I think that the fact is always true that you don't find time either for your hobbies or your work or your skills or your practice. You make it.
I go sit in my van for 2 hours every day in the driveway and write in my van. And the kids know that if they need me, if there's an emergency, I'm just in the driveway. But then it gives me a little separation from what's going on in the house, and that's how I've been able to get a little bit of stuff done.
I haven't been writing a ton, kind of with Becca, giving myself a little bit of grace, but I also just don't have any deadlines, and so nobody's waiting on anything for me. But I'm getting anything done by letting I only have one kid in school, and I just let her sleep. I let her sleep in. She's a night owl. I'm an early bird. So I get up. I've got like 6 hours of stuff to do before she even like stumbles out of her room. So it works It works really well. I am killing it on quarantine. I love it. I could stay this way forever. But I'm not doing a ton of writing, just, planning, I guess, in my head.
We all, when you're a writer, book reviews are hard. So do you read your book reviews, or like, how do you deal with the good versus the bad ones?
So I have asked the production manager at Shadow Mountain to send me reviews if they're good ones. And I read those ones, and that's like it. The ones that are like on Blog Tour and stuff, I'll sometimes read those. But I will not read, I guess I don't know. I will not go looking for reviews. The good stuff for some reason doesn't like fill me up as much as it should. But anything negative, and I'm just, my legs are cut out from underneath me, and I can't write. So it's has not gotten better over the course of my career. I keep thinking I'm going to get to this point and be like, oh yeah, I can handle it. Not everybody likes my books. Nope. I take it very personally. It's ridiculous.
I once heard Jen Nielsen talk about reviews, and it explained to me exactly that feeling you're talking about. She said, for a lot of authors, bad reviews are like poison, but good reviews are like crack. And I think it's true. Like, you can never get enough good ones to fill that void you're hoping it'll fill, but all it takes is one bad one, and you're just out for the count. So hearing her say that, Jen Nielsen, who you can't imagine gets any bad reviews ever, right, gave me permission to stop reading reviews. And once I did, it made a big difference. I think my writing kryptonite has got to be doubt. I mean, so much doubt that just roils inside. And I found reviews, good or bad, feeds that in not great ways. So I don't read my reviews. That's how I handle it. I just avoid them.
I actually am the same way. And it was Josie actually who told me that, I just don't read them. I'm like, what do you do? I mean, these reviews, and they would send me into spirals of sad that would last for weeks. So unhealthy. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I just don't read them. You can do that? I didn't even know that was a thing you could give yourself permission to do, because I take them very personally. They hurt a lot. And I wish people understood when they were leaving reviews, there's a real human being on the end of that, unless they're a dead author, which, then do what you want. But I don't know, be nice. It's not hard. It's just so hard. Reviews are the worst. Thanks, Josie.
I also find, I'll just hop in here, I also find that reviews paralyze me. I get stuck, and I have a hard time. So then I start to question when I'm writing again. I have a hard time not questioning every word I'm putting down on the screen, and so it it stops you dead in your tracks. And I always used to think, well, I have to read the reviews so that I know how I'm doing. It was like I would use that to gauge my progress or my success or whatever. And even still, like you guys have said, knowing that most of them are positive, I mean, overwhelmingly, reviews that you see are positive, these 3 stars or more or whatever. But it's those 1 and 2 stars and people who really hate your stuff so much that it's like ruined their lives, and they are going to tell everyone that it ruined their lives. I mean, that kind of stuff is really hard. I mean, I expect people to not love everything I write, and that's just fine. I mean, it really is. But you can really get into a weird headspace, I think. And it's like that with anything in your life, too much negative, and it stops you in your tracks.
And it's one thing to hear negativity, sorry, Julie, while you're writing, and for somebody to say this isn't working. When I go out and ask someone, will you read this and let me know how, right? Totally something else when it's over, because you can't do anything about it. Right? It's done. The book is done. I don't think there's any reason that, well, people shouldn't, they can, whatever they want, but I don't read it. I do have a friend who will go and look on like Goodreads and Amazon and stuff, and she'll send me screenshots of really good reviews. And again, it's not that I'm not I'm a smart girl. I'm tough. I can, wait to eat my candy until I've written 100 words. I have some strength inside me, but, it's really interesting how sometimes we internalize the negativity, and instead of them talking about a book, they're talking about me. But you'd be surprised, people who write reviews, how when you read over the words you write, you really are talking about the author a lot of times, right? And that's really personal and frightening and vulnerable. And, maybe you can tell that we all have a little bit of, neurosis, maybe not all of us. There's a couple people here who are very confident, and you know, I'm not going to say which ones we are not, but it's funny how it's almost impossible not to take it personally, both the bad and the good.
The other thing is that, like what was it Josie or Sarah, someone who said, quoting Jen Nielsen, like the good reviews don't fill you up. I find that the good reviews do not do anything for me positively. Even if it's, I love this, my favorite book in the whole world, it doesn't actually increase my sense of satisfaction over what I created, but it does set me up to put a lot of pressure on myself for my next writing. And so I stay away from all reviews. And what kind of not hurts, but it kind of ruins my plans is when people will tag me in reviews or email me their reviews. I'm like, please don't email me. You know, like I'm just going on with my life, trying to live a good life. I don't need to know that your day was ruined because of my book. You know, like just let me live my life, please.
I just want to add that everybody has the right, like Becca was saying, I love that people post reviews, even if they're bad reviews. It's okay, post them, share your opinion. It needs to be out there. I want readers to be able to go to Amazon and Goodreads and really see what the ranking is and read through opinions and figure it out. I mean, I use that as a resource, and that should be a resource. What we're talking about is just the very specific effect it has on us, the writer. So we then have to figure out our boundaries on how we do it.
I absolutely agree with that. I love reviews. I think reviews are a fantastic tool, and so I probably made it sound like I didn't, and I do love reviews. I just don't read them.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's human nature, and it's this irrational. It's like that Seinfeld episode where George was like, "People have to like me," and he obsesses about someone who doesn't like him. And so it's like everyone has to like this when reality is not that way, and you know that realistically not everybody has to or should like your books. But it's this weird, dysfunctional. It's just being a human. I think people have to like me.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe we can agree, we can all agree that we're going to keep writing books and you don't have to read them. You keep writing reviews and we don't have to read them. We can exist in our own space. We want you to write reviews. And I think it's fair to say people want us to write books, but not every work is for every person.
I love all of your thoughts on that. This question comes from Hannah S. What has been and is your biggest inspiration throughout your writing journey?
I'll pipe in and just say my friends, my writing friends, they're the ones who have kept me writing. My critique group or the people that I look to for feedback or inspiration or motivation, they're fantastic.
For me, I love stories. I love stories. I'm drawn by stories in real life and on the page. And anyway, I love stories. I love written stories. I love real life stories. And sometimes I'll think I'm never going to write again, and then I get a story idea, and that's what pushes me forward.
Yeah, I think I would write even if I was never going to be published again. I think I would keep writing because I don't really know how to do anything else. But it really, my friends, they push me through. I want to be where they're at. I want to be doing what they're doing. I want to be relevant enough that I deserve to be in their same space. And I would be desperately sad without them. They mean so much. My writing community is, but my husband's also really good because he likes me to read my books to him. He has dyslexia, so reading is hard for him. So he listens, and I read out loud to him, and he's super awesome about it. And he laughs in all the right places, and sometimes he gets teary-eyed, and I love that. He's a fantastic audience.
You know, along with what Julie's saying about having a fantastic audience, do any of you guys have a particular target reader when you're writing a particular story? I often have, when I'm writing a story, I think of one person that I'm kind of writing the story for. And I'm hoping when I, grow up, that person will be me, right? That I'll be writing it for myself, that this is my book for me. I haven't gotten there yet, but I often have like a reader in mind. And usually it's one of my kids.
You know what I do? I have this book that I love, and sometimes I feel kind of bad because I'm like, I write romance. And sometimes I like to tell myself that it's not really important work and that it's not the kind of thing that I read that someone else has written and it just is life-changing. But then I have to remind myself that I find so much joy, and as a young mother I did, and even still as a young kid, it was my escape. I loved it. I love getting lost in a good story, and so I have to remind myself that this book that I'm writing right now may be someone else's Dreaming of You. And I like the book Dreaming of You. It's this romance novel that was written back in the 90s by Lisa Kleypas, and I have to get a disclaimer there. There's a couple of descriptive scenes, but that book for me was just, it hit me just right in all the right romance spots. It was just, it's my yardstick that I kind of measure. Am I hitting all the feels? And so I like to tell myself how I can kind of keep that going is I just like to tell myself this may be someone's Dreaming of You. This book could turn out to be someone's special happy place.
So I have a question for our Regency authors. This is from Mary E. What do you think makes a great hero or heroine in the Regency era?
I'll go ahead and answer. I honestly think that there were so many different rules and confines for living in the Regency era, and I think that taking those rules and those guidelines and those confines and fences, if you will, and making them work and living inside them and finding happiness in spite of the fences that are around you. I think that's powerful to find happiness in spite of and to make your own way. And actually, I think that that's probably important for any genre in any time period. I mean, not everybody's living in a perfect thing. Everybody has fences that are holding them into whatever, and figuring out a way out or figuring out a way to make them work. I think it's powerful, and I think that that's pretty heroic when you can live in those spaces.
Okay, I'm going to get on not to answer the question, but to make Megan answer the question. I love you. Okay. I think for me, I love it when a Regency heroine has a huge emotion or a huge amount of emotion, because I feel like back in the Regency period, women weren't supposed to have thoughts, or they weren't supposed to have these big feelings or big things on their mind or big things to do or say. And so I like to have a heroine who's okay having those things and who pushes those lines, like Julie was saying. And I like to have a hero who can see that and appreciate that and put them together and help them fall in love. Is that good for you, Leah? Yeah, that works. Thanks.
Cool. I'm going to move on to the next question. So I'm going to position this one to Sarah just because I know she's a research wizard, but this is from Stephen M. How do you go about doing research for your novels, or are you already just very knowledgeable about these time periods?
I think it's impossible to be knowledgeable enough about a historical time period to write without doing at least some research. For me, when I'm getting ready to write in a new time period, I'll begin researching that time period. Okay, I should give a caveat here. I'm a little crazy about research, so don't think this is the way it has to be done. But I will start researching that time period 2 to 3 years before I start writing in it. And I do what I call general research, which is where I'm just getting to know an era. I want to know the locations that were important, the big events of the time, what the worldview was like, the impact of society and arts and world events on the people who lived, what their mindset was, that kind of thing. After I've done that, then I feel like I'm ready to start formulating stories that are authentic to an era. And as I start doing that, I'll delve more deeply into the general aspects of that area of the world in that specific year and time period. Then as I'm writing the book, if I come across specific things I need to know, like what type of fabric the dress might have been made out of, how long it would take to travel by horse from London to Edinburgh in 1812, I will make notes to myself to go and look those things up. And to me, that is specific research, where you're finding out specific bits of information. And the reason I make a list rather than stopping to go search for it is because, one, and all these ladies will agree, when you're in the zone with writing, if you pull yourself back out, it can be really hard to get back in. And because I love research so much, that I would start by trying to time the post delivery through England, and then 6 hours later, I'm studying about the fabric used in Venice in 1705. You know what I mean? I go down that rabbit hole. So I start with very general research and move to more specifics. And before I start writing in an era, I make sure I know it pretty well so I can start. Because the worst thing is if you've come up with a story or a plot idea and you're halfway through and you realize that it cannot work because the time period you're writing in doesn't allow it to work, and then you've lost all that time. So I start with general and I go more specific as I go along. So there you go.
This question, I'm gonna position this one to Julie because I know she might have some little tidbits, but this is from Cassie H. Do you ever sneak any shout outs or Easter eggs into your books?
Actually, I do. I have a hidden Nathan Davenport and a hidden Allison Lopez in every book that I write. So, in every book there is an Allie or an Allison or whatever, or a Nate or a Nathan, or some form of their name. And sometimes they're bad guys, like one time Nathan was a drug dealer with, the open shirt and big chains, and, Allison's the obnoxious little sister, and sometimes they're the love interest. It just depends. There you go.
Does anyone else do something like that in their books?
I don't.
I
feel like I should. Dang.
My Savage Wells books are full of them. The name of the town comes from the surnames of two people from the writing group I was in when I first started writing them. The owner of the Mercantile is the surname of another writing friend. So yeah, that one is full of them, which has been really, really fun. I just steal people's names unabashedly and use them for my evil purposes.
I'm in the Savage Wells books. I'm a crazy old lady.
She is. She's a super crazy old lady in that book.
Next question is for Nancy. This is from Janice A. What got you interested in steampunk?
I liked reading it. I came across a steampunk book that's called, oh gosh, now I can't remember it, of course, but it was really good. And I was at a point in my writing span where I had an editor at the time who was kind of trying to help guide me through what I wanted to start on next. And he said, do you like steampunk? And I said, yes, I do. And he said, why don't you write steampunk? And I thought, I can't do that. There's nothing like that in this market. There's nothing like that, close by me where any, in my association and everything. And then I thought, why not? And so he really just kind of encouraged that. And so I wrote Beauty and the Clockwork Beast because Beauty and the Beast is my favorite fairy tale. It's close tie with Cinderella. And I also love Jane Eyre. That's my favorite, probably my favorite all time. And so I wanted kind of a gothic-y feel. And so I threw everything I had into that story. And it was really kind of a bizarre mashup. And most people say that it works really well. I've heard a lot of people say that if once you get past page 99, it's great. And I'm like, it took you 99 pages to enjoy this book. So I'm hoping that that's not really the case all the time. But it does contain a lot. And so I just kind of created this world that's really big, and it kind of has taken on a life of its own, and each different book is a different fairy tale. And and I have a lot of Easter eggs, speaking of Easter eggs, that from usually the Disney cartoons or the original stories that I will kind of slip into the books, because they're not really true retellings. It's more like a nod to the original story. So, and blended with steampunk, where I can kind of, I try to keep it true to Victorian, but at the same time I can throw in a bunch of things that don't really exist and that are fun, and that's been awesome too. So.
Wonderful. So we're kind of running low on time, so I'm only going to ask 2 more questions. The first of which is for Julianne Donaldson. So a lot of people have been asking if you're currently writing something. Can you give us some insight into that?
That's kind of the question of the decade, isn't it? Like, when am I ever going to write anything again? I'm currently working on a couple of different books. So one is a historical, it's another Regency, that I've been having a lot of fun creating the world for that one. And the other one is actually nonfiction, and that one will probably come out first, hopefully next year, and then maybe the year after for the Regency.
Sweet. Well, we can't wait. All right. And one last question for everyone, all of our authors. If you could tell your younger writing self, what would it be? Your writing self anything, what would it be? Sorry.
I'll take that first. I would tell her to remember to enjoy the process and the reason that you start writing in the first place. The business itself, of being published and everything, gets really murky and hard, and to try to hang on to the joy of actually creating.
Here, here, Nancy, that was perfect. That's exactly what I would tell myself too. Just enjoy it. And don't hold off on thinking that you'll enjoy it once you get published, because publishing just throws you into a career. It's not like all your dreams are coming true. It's just that you've started a new career that comes with good side and bad sides. So definitely enjoy it. And if I can just add one other thing, someone asked earlier, what does, through the chat, I think someone says, so if reviews don't help you feel better about your writing, what does help you feel that way? And for me, really tapping into the joy of creation is what gives me the strongest sense of fulfillment. And whether or not other people like it doesn't ever surpass my own joy that I feel when I get to create something that I love. And so that's the ultimate for me, and everyone else is like just a little light layer of frosting on the cake.
I think for me, I would tell my younger self that this is gonna work. This is worth your time, because there's times when you're like, I am wasting my time. This story's never gonna come together. It's not gonna happen. And I wish I'd known from the outset that, yeah, it's gonna work. If you keep working at it, it will come together. And that as wonderful as writing a story is, this is also a part of your life. And so look for the ways that your life is changing, and people that are being brought into your circle, and the people that you're meeting, and all those things that you're learning through this writing. It's on an individual sense, the books are about creating a better me, not just about me creating a book, a story.
I think I would tell myself, my younger self, and frankly, I should tell myself every day, that to look for the joy in the creation. This is not something I have to be afraid of. And that is actually something I do tell myself every day. This is not scary. It doesn't have to be frightening. There doesn't need to be fear, because fear is going to get in my way. Be brave. You don't have to be afraid.
I think I would go back to a point very early on. Background of me, I have a whole cocktail of diseases and disabilities that are all progressive, and so they're constantly changing and deteriorating my body and my condition. And I went through a period of time early in my career when I was going through one of those periods of deterioration and was losing my ability to type and some other things that were really important. And I wish I could sit down with that Sarah and tell her, you're gonna figure this out. You're going to get through this. You're gonna come out on the other end different, but you're not going to lose this. Because so much about writing for me is it's fulfilling on like a soul deep level, and the thought of losing that, losing the ability to tell these stories that are in my heart was such a weight and such a burden. I wish I could go back and say to myself then, it's okay, you're gonna figure it out. It's gonna be all right, keep going. Because there was a point in time when I didn't think that was how it was gonna play out. So that's the Sarah I'd like to go back and talk to.
Well, I'm brand new. I've been out here for a month, guys. And I just want to say thank you to all of you beautiful authors for your advice, because I totally feel like those are things I need to be telling myself. I kind of got into this whole thing by accident. I didn't think that I would even ever publish what I was writing, and then I did. I published Lake Shire Park. So I guess what I would tell myself is, this is something that you can do, and it can be amazing. And I feel like it was. And so that's what I would say. Megan, take it seriously and have fun, but also know that creativity comes in many forms, and writing can be yours.
I would say take your time. Like, it's not a rush. It's not a race. If you're older and doing it, it's okay. And if you're younger and doing it, it's okay. Just take your time and enjoy it, and write the stories that you want to before you get published, because after you get published, then everything sort of gets filtered. And then you're like, I don't have time to write this fantastic fantasy epic whatever that I wanted to do, right? Because you're now on a schedule and you're on deadlines and stuff. So just don't rush into it and have fun.
If I could go, I remember when I got my first agent, I was so excited. It was like, oh, I landed an agent. It was such a big deal. And Jeff Savage, like, just enjoy this moment, because, you know, even after you get an agent, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden life is roses and nothing bad happens. And I thought that was negative. I was kind of irritated with them, but I did find that enjoying every moment for what the moment is really important. just enjoy every moment. Enjoy the moment you get your agent. Enjoy the moment you get your publishing. Enjoy the moment you sign that contract. Enjoy the moment you do get those first reviews, because as much as we were negative about reviews are awesome. And just enjoy all of the moments, because all of the moments are precious and you never know when you're going to stop having moments. So enjoy them, love them, live happy.
Perfect. Thank you all. Sweet. So some final housekeeping things. We also have been having each of our Proper Romance authors do some special readings every Thursday. We also have a landing page on our website at shadowmountain.com/videos. And you can watch all the readings that our Proper Romance authors did for those, and those will be available until June. So if you want to hear your favorite authors read each other's books, that's great.
Some are better than others. I'll just put that in there.
Sarah's been doing her Penny Dreadful reading, so she didn't read any of the Proper Romance ones, but she's been doing awesome doing this Penny Dreadful, so if you haven't...
I'm up to my 53rd reading. It's been a long road.
Which is amazing. That being said, I think that's it. Breaks and Roses is out on Tuesday, so please, we're excited for our Mayfield Family series. But yeah, thank you all for attending. We love you all.
So thanks everybody. It's great to see everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Happy reading. Good luck with the quarantine.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.